the Town of Hadley Select Board to order. So 6:01. And with us this evening on the Select Board, we have David Phil, Randy Iser, myself, Molly Keegan, Jane Nevin-Smith, and Amy Parsons. This is a hybrid meeting. And in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, signed by the Governor on February 15th, 2022, I announce that this meeting of the Select Board is being recorded by Hadley Media, the Select Board's office via Zoom, and ask if there is anyone present who is also recording this meeting. Then it doesn't appear that anyone else is. Let the minutes reflect that nobody else has indicated that they're recording the meeting. Okay, so first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Tonight we have the minutes for approval from May 1st, 2024. And we also have a one-day liquor license request for the Amherst 4th of July McGurk Stadium event is being requested by White Lion Brewing, and the date will be July 2nd, 2024.
Could we pull that for discussion, please?
Sure.
I move we accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Jane, seconded by Randy to accept the May 1st, 2024 minutes. And the one-day liquor license request.
I just want to make sure that everything is on the up and up between us and UMass or this point in time, or Amherst. You got any problems, Chief? That you're
work in progress.
You have any issues with this?
We have conditions on there that we need to do an inspection and there may be a fire marshal required. There's potential plans to relocate fireworks at the Amherst site, so that would be our jurisdiction, but we may still respond.
Okay, all right.
This is Amherst Leisure Services that does the fireworks, not UMass itself, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion on that topic? Not
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Jane, seconded by Randy. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's a unanimous vote on that. Okay, and we're now going to have a public comment period. Is there anyone here for public comment?
Yes.
Chief Spank Nabel?
They're bringing money. I'm scared.
Just wanted to say thank you for letting us have 3 minutes of your time during public comment, but we just we're about to say farewell and have a good time at college. Tyler St. Hilaire just graduated from Hopkins Academy. He has he stepped up as our intern since his freshman year at Hopkins and has immersed himself into the fire department as a all-force firefighter, initially as an intern. I can tell you I've never met such a mature, dedicated young man as this gentleman, as is reflected by his great parents that are here with us tonight. But I can't tell you that if I could clone him and make 1,000 of them, we would never need staff again. Anything we needed, from mowing the lawn to cleaning the station, cleaning trucks, taking the time on his own to learn all the vehicles and equipment, chomping at the bit at age 17, waiting to be able to go through the fire training because he needs to be 18, and blowing through it like it was nothing for him. He is going to be going to the University of Maine, and he has already volunteered at a fire department up in Maine. So he's also doing that, and we just wanted to recognize him, and I'm going to pass it off quickly first to the association vice president, Nick Witowitz. We have a little gift for him that I'd like him to present first.
Appreciate everything that has always done. Appreciate it.
And then we've tried to do it a few meetings ago, but we got called out. But it's time for Tyler to receive his official badge as a firefighter with the town of Hadley. He met the requirements, and I'm going to present him with his certificate. So certificate of completion of the Hampshire County Basic 6 program, which is 6 Sundays, 8 hours with all different types of training that he made it through with flying colors. So we'd like to present this to you, and congratulations. It's been a long time coming. like to ask the St. Hilaire's, the parents to come up and, we'd love to have them in their son.
Good job. Congratulations.
Sorry.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Tyler, enjoy the next 4 years and we hope to see you back
Yeah,
here.
come back when you're done.
All right.
Yes.
Is there anyone else here for public comment?
Hi, my name's Tony Fiden. I'm from Cold Spring Lane. I'd just like to speak for a few minutes. I'll try to be brief within my 3 minutes about the issue of lithium battery storage that came up at town meeting. It was unfortunate in my mind that it came at the end of town meeting when a lot of people had left. I don't think it really got the attention that it deserved. It also came up again at the at last night's planning board meeting. And I don't know if any of you got a chance to listen to this, but it was a very instructive, and I hope that all of you get a chance to look at it, and anybody who may be interested in this issue watches that meeting, because one thing that became clear to me, at least in watching that meeting, and the developers for a proposed lithium storage on Breckenridge Road were there to talk about their project. What was clear to me is that they don't care about our bylaws. They don't care about the old bylaw. They don't care about the new bylaw. And they're not all that worried about what the Attorney General says. They seem like they're ready to go regardless of what happens there. They have lawyers. They have the Attorney General, at least in her stances so far, has been behind it, and the governor. And I think we made a mistake by approving that bylaw. And we need to realize that, again, they don't care about our bylaws. They don't care about what we think. This should be adversarial because they're trying to roll us. They're trying to do whatever they want. Not that they're, and I can't really say I blame them. They have so much behind them, and they're going to, we haven't shown the willingness to fight so far. So it's an important issue. I hope people watch that meeting. The big issue to me is safety. Last night, Mike Straczynski brought up that there had been another lithium battery storage fire that burned for, I believe it was more than a week. It's had 70 firefighters. They couldn't put it out. It kept reigniting. The chairman ruled him out of order and would let him speak about that. I'm not sure why that happened. He'll have to explain that, but that's the issue that should be talked about, is the safety. Now, because it really is, these really are a hazard, and it's not just here, it's all over the country. I brought up at town meeting, one thing I'd like to clear up. At town meeting, I raised the point that last summer there had been 3 serious incidents in New York State. And these incidents, one of them burned for 4 days. They had to shelter in place. The governor warned them to protect themselves and their families of what happened in New York. And the governor of New York organized a task force to study the safety of these facilities after those 3 incidents. So I was hoping that we could have a debate on safety, but during the meeting, Michael Doctor, a town official, stood up and said, if you do a little Google search, as I just did, about the fires in New York, they're all related to mopeds and small charging systems that have been mostly hacked in somebody's apartment. We are not talking about the kinds of facilities that you're talking about. So that's what he said. I was appalled, because that's not what it was. And for a town official to do a 30-second Google search on his phone and then go up and give all of us, all of you and the whole town misinformation, is just not acceptable. I confronted him after the meeting. First, he said I was wrong. Then he said, send me the articles. When I declined to do that, he said, I probably get my information from Fox News, so he doesn't care anyway. That's not really acceptable. Anyway, don't take my word for any of that. I urge you to just look it up. There were 3 fires in New York State over the summer. There are incidents all over the country. And I think it's important as we go forward that we do, and whether it's, I don't like to speak at meetings, do it occasionally, but when I do my homework. I don't do a 30-second Google search and then stand up and say, oh, no, it's mopeds. It's not even mopeds, it's e-bikes that he was talking about. And, ironically, they are dangerous. E-bikes do catch on fire, but that's a completely separate issue. The fires that happen in New York, the fire that happened in San Diego, were all attached to the grid. They're grid facilities. And they do catch on fire. They're almost impossible to put out, as the chief can tell you. They can contain them. So I'm hoping that going forward, we can look at this as, let's start protecting ourselves. If you, again, watch the planning board meeting, watch what they said. They're not really trying to cooperate. They're just saying, hey, we're gonna do this, and you're gonna have to learn to like it. So I just thought I'd raise those points. Thank you.
And Tony, if you'd like to send that information either to Jennifer or me, and we'll make sure the full board has access to that.
Sure.
May I make a comment?
Uh,
So tomorrow at 2:00, the fire department will be at the senior center having a conversation about lithium batteries. If anyone wants to come, it's open to the public.
I'll be there. Good timing.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Anybody else here for public comment this evening?
I do. Not for myself. I just wanted to say that the Hadley Elementary School fundraising committee, they've raised $299,000, so they have only $1,000 left. So they anything that they receive over the $300,000 goal is going to go to benches, shade structures, other things that they need as well. They're grateful for any additional community support that they can have. So donations can be sent to the Hadley Elementary School. And then if you're doing a check donation, make sure in the memo, it's made out to the Hadley PTO with the word playground in the memo so that they know when they receive donations where to allocate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So if it's okay, I'm just going to skip out of order because I see we have Mr. Maximowski here. So if we can jump to new business 5.1. And Jim, you're here for the DPW Facility Design Committee recommendation for the
Well,
OPM.
actually, I think we're called the DPW Building Committee now, but that's irrelevant what our title is. Anyways, the procurement officer of the town sent out a request for OPM. This is about the OPM, obviously. And we received 4 replies for the OPM for the DPW facility, the new proposed DPW facility. A company called CMS, another company called HDR/City Point Partners, Colliers, and a company called P3. It's actually, I believe their official name is PQ, but because both people don't want to say that or can't understand it, they call themselves P3. Anyways, those are the only 4 replies we got. And we interviewed all 4 of them on May 14th. And the committee was impressed with 3 of them, CMS, Colliers, and P3 of those that attended. For various reasons, HDR didn't exactly meet all of our, we weren't overly thrilled with them, maybe the best way to say it. They're not that they were bad group by any stretch, but they just didn't seem to be what we were looking for. And so then each one's presented for, each one was about an hour interview, asked them questions, gave us a presentation, etc. And we met last week and we ranked each of the remaining 3, CMS, Colliers, and P3. And we decided that our number 1 choice was Colliers. That's the same company that built the senior center and the fire station. Number 2 was CMS, and number 3 was P3. They were any one of those 3 would, when we did all kinds of background checks, called companies they had done work for, They have all done DPW facilities, some have done a couple, some have done more than a couple. But they've also done schools and senior centers and on and on and on. So they're all very similar. They all seem very attentive, answered our questions. They seem all three to be very capable companies. But we decided to choose Colliers. And so we're looking for the selectmen to reinforce our choice so that we can enter negotiations and move forward.
Sure.
Will Bill Palumbo be the lead for Colliers?
We think so, but they couldn't 100% commit to that. He was like, I'm about 95% sure, but I can't quite guarantee it. That's fine. They had the second person, his name was Adam DeLacio, I believe, was
Yeah, he
with
worked on this building too.
And so it would be one of those two would be the lead and the other would be like the backup. Which
Perfect.
one would be the lead and backup? They couldn't quite guarantee it at this point in time until negotiating and everything else are completed.
From working with them on this building, 100% approval.
And Jimmy, I'm just gonna add to that. I'm on the committee.
Yep.
We ranked them top to bottom, just in case negotiations don't work out with the first one. We said this would be our second choice. This would be our third choice. So that's why we did that.
And can I ask, and I'm assuming I know the answer, but I'm just going to ask it. As part of the due diligence on the various OPM candidates, you looked into liability coverages, bonding, all of that.
They every one of all four of them submitted all of that in their proposal. They have they met all of the requirements of insurance and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't want to, I'm not an insurance guy, so I don't want to use the right word, but basically they're all bondable, for lack of a better term. Yeah.
Right. And what would the next steps be then, Jim? So assuming that they're approved tonight, then what happens next?
I believe the next step is to enter negotiations with Colliers, if you approve them, and negotiate the fee. And I gotta find out. I don't know. I'm used to the old system where now with the new OPMs and the new procurement officers and a whole bit, who does the negotiation? Is it just the procurement officer? Is it the building committee? Is it a combination? I don't know what the next steps are for negotiations.
We can talk about that.
Okay.
And then the next step after that is you're going to be looking at for a
Yeah.
architect. which
So
will be
the next-
this way.
Next step would be to negotiate the fee, agree upon it, and then we would advertise for the architect for the schematic design. And the OPM would have a lot of input into that. And then you do a similar process with the architect that we just did for the OPM, get the replies, they do interviews, negotiate the fee, and then do the schematic design.
And those funds have already been approved at town meeting for this next phase.
Correct.
So we're not going back to town meeting for additional.
Right.
at this.
We have a 225 for this and the schematic design.
I move we accept your proposal.
Second.
Colliers.
Second.
Second. Okay, motion made by Jane, seconded by David. Any further discussion? And is there nothing from procurement? You're good? Okay, good. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. You have to be in touch with me sometime, Carolyn?
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
good. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Just leave it right there. It's fine. Thanks.
Okay, so going back to old business 4.1 then, this is the draft job description for the assistant town administrator / human resource position. Carolyn?
So that is some edits to the first draft that you looked at after Molly and I met with just some minor, and they're highlighted, some minor changes. I didn't hear from anybody else, so.
The one thing that I saw missing in this was that I've heard in other things is self-motivation, or something of that term, is self-motivated, can carry on all these duties without somebody having to say, do this next, do this next.
Let me look at it to see if there's some, I'm trying to think of the term that's used. I have-
Self-directed.
Self-directed is good.
Yeah.
It's usually like
I
self-directed.
think there's something that reflects that. Let me see.
I think in the supervision language. I mean, it could be more clear to Jane's point.
Yeah, there's a word I'm thinking of, and that's why I thought I had seen it somewhere else.
Well, you've got independent judgment in there.
Right. Right. It says with considerable latitude for independent judgment and action, it assumes responsibility for developing and achieving goals and objectives.
Do you feel like that covers it, Jane?
It could. I just think the other is stronger.
And the word you want to use is
So
what?
I would, well, self-directed and assumes responsibility would do it. With Amy's words.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen self-directed in job descriptions before, but
It can't hurt to have it because independent judgment can be
I want
looked at in a
what you guys want.
bunch of different ways. So
but that's also in
The skills section.
I was gonna say it's more of like a skill as well.
I think if you read that supervision received, if you get down to that last sentence as well, questions are referred to supervisor only when clarification of operating policies and procedures is needed.
That's more like saying you're doing your own thing.
I can add it. I would assume I would probably put it under supervision received.
Yeah.
In that paragraph. You guys agree?
that's fine.
Yeah. Because that would be the expectation that you're not directly reporting to and, all that.
Anyone else have any comments on the job description itself? If not, with that edit in mind, Carolyn, what are you recommending for next steps?
Agree with the job description with that change, and if the board agrees that we can look at, the next step is for us to, or you just discuss with some input from me of what the pay scale would be.
Okay, so you're not prepared to do that tonight, so you want us to accept this and then based on the final job description, you'll go back,
Yeah,
research that range and then come back?
Will that hold us up from starting advertising?
we would definitely want that.
But we should be able to do this at the next meeting?
Definitely, yeah,
That's next week.
which we have to discuss. We don't want to wait till the end of June.
Is this an open session or executive session?
It would be open session, and that's why I would like to look at, you have not, released the compensation study, but I think we certainly should use that as guidance. But I would also, have some ranges from surrounding communities, like similar communities. I did spend a lot of time at the spring conference for town managers and town administrators with a lot of assistant TAs, with very similar job descriptions of that. So I certainly can reach out to them as well.
Well, and Amherst has just finished this search and there's a list of people that they did not choose who they thought might be qualified if the first person hadn't taken the job. So I think there are people out there looking, which is the good.
Oh, there definitely is. We've already had inquiries. I think that we would still post it.
Oh, absolutely.
Post it, but instead of seeking out those applicants, they'd have to come to us and make
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
So could you have that information for next week?
yes.
Because we're supposed to meet on the 12th, correct?
We are, yeah, I'm not here.
Do you
But
zoom
that's
into
what-
that?
Pardon?
Can you zoom into that or you're not?
Not where I'm gonna be, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
So you said you were gone as well.
I'm gone the following week.
Oh, the following week, okay. Right. Yeah, so we'll
Okay.
do that next week.
Okay.
Randy's meeting.
Randy will have the con.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and any comment, I'll obviously talk to Carolyn. Yeah. in advance of that, so she'll know what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion to approve this job description then with the recommended edit?
I'll move that we approve with edit.
Second. Okay, motion made by Jane, seconded by Amy. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. All right, thanks, Carolyn. You're welcome. Next old business item, Digital Equity Steering Committee charge. And I'm assuming by charge, you mean the overarching mission. And that is Alex.
I'm sorry.
Say hustle onto the field, Alex.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Good.
Good. So I did mention the charge last time and it's the PowerPoint, but that's pretty much it up there. It's Digital Equity Steering Committee's charge shall be to work with the consultant designated by the Massachusetts Broadband Institute to prepare a digital equity plan for the town of Hadley to serve residents who may be at a disadvantage regarding lack of reliable broadband and lack of digital equity skills and access to reliable devices to keep up with the ever-changing technological atmosphere post-COVID.
Something that I've found out that I wasn't clear on actually is I didn't realize how overarching this initiative is. So it's not strictly municipalities and media organizations.
It's COAs, it's libraries. I'm in the same boat, Molly.
Yeah.
Because there's a local organization called Alliance for Digital Equity. It's ran by a colleague of mine when she worked for she used to work for a Brookline Interactive Group, which is the Brookline version of us. So there's a lot of people on it. There's a lot of organizations in the area that do a lot of digital equity work. So it's not just broadband. There's a lot to it. So I've been attending a lot of these meetings. I've been learning a lot, and it's a lot to take in. But it's definitely good work. It's definitely something to look into. So
Yeah, it came up at a United Way board meeting, and I was like, wait a minute. We just talked about this in select board, so.
yeah. There's a lot to it, but the federal and state government's pouring in a lot of money into it. Once we get the draft implemented, they're actually going to provide more money to actually implement start the implementation. So again, no money out of the taxpayer, at least the Hadley taxpayer pocket.
So tonight, it looks like we need to, I think you're hoping for us to have a select board member appointed to the committee. Is there anything else that you need from us this evening? Do we need to actually approve the charge, or is that? Or
I believe
that
it
kind of is what it is.
was it to approve the charge, Carolyn? I mean,
I think it's always good to approve the charge. Yes, and that's what we've listed it as the charge that you're discussing. So
okay.
you're giving the update as well, which is fine.
Okay. Could we do it to wait till the next meeting to actually appoint the committee? This is not on the agenda, or can they appoint it today?
I think it is, select board liaison
Well,
assignments.
it's not, but and so you
Oh.
can, you also are waiting for the COA, so you can wait for that.
I could wait for that. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
And then we can bear that in mind as we're doing the liaison assignments and things that are on the agenda, then people will know that that's coming.
yeah, absolutely. So if once you get up to the liaison assignments, it's a good time working with me. Jane knows. So
COA meeting is next Tuesday.
yep. And I saw it on the agenda, so I'll be there. So
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the Digital Equity Plan Steering Committee's charge as presented.
Second,
Motion made by Randy, seconded by Jane. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for doing that as always, and have a great rest of your meeting.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, item 4.3 under old business, executive session minutes update. So I had requested that this be on the agenda. I just wanted to make sure that there was clarity, because at the last meeting, a question was posed to me by a fellow board member, and I boldly responded thinking I knew that the answer was correct, only to find out, alas, it was not. So David had asked at the meeting if in approving, doing all the work we did on the executive session minutes from 23 and 24, if we were fully up to date. And I said, yes, that it was correct in the context of a public records request, but it was not correct in the context of actually being fully up to date on the executive session minutes. So we are catching up from 2020, 21 and 22. And as you see tonight, we have an executive session, and we're going to be chunking all of those out. And the goal is that over the next 5 or so select board meetings where we have an executive session, we'll be able to become fully up to date on these. Okay, does anybody have any questions about that? Nope, okay. All right, new business 5.2, so select board liaison assignments. So I think Jennifer provided a list here.
If I left any committee off, it was not intentional or a slight towards them. I just want to be clear.
Right, yeah, and then it was actually somebody in the public had asked me a question, and it had to do with, I think they looked and saw that there were some committees that weren't on here, so again, I'm going to say what I think, and then anybody else jump in and correct me if you have a different opinion. But the liaison assignments, again, to be really clear, it's to improve communication flow and to develop some level of expertise, if you will, on the board. You know, so if somebody's a liaison for, you know, the school department, for an example, for some amount of time, you get to know really more about that particular functional area than those of us who may not be interacting with the schools as much. But it is definitely not intended to provide direction, you know, unilateral direction from the liaison. It's strictly a communication arm. The board and committee assignments, in many cases, but not all, there is a select board member, or sometimes even 2 members, who are actual sitting voting members of that committee. But for the committees where we don't have a sitting select board member, we've included those committees as also kind of part of the liaison structure. So that, again, that committee, if nobody on the select board's there, knows, you know, who they might want to go to for further conversation or whatever. Is that right?
It sounds pretty reasonable to me.
Okay.
Is as far as communicating with boards or departments that you're not the liaison for, are we going to do at least give a courtesy heads up to the person, you know, as far as that has that board or committee, to say, hey, here's the issue I'm going to, and not necessarily that you have to ask for permission, just to kind of loop in the liaison so they know what's going on, as far as, or are we just, you know,
Plowing forward.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think that if nothing else, is kind of the reasonable, courteous thing to do.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Everybody comfortable with that? Yeah.
That makes sense. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we change liaisons every year, so
Okay.
they might not know who to go to
That's right. So
right
there's
off the bat.
Confusion. So, okay. So I guess I'll start only from, so with Joyce leaving, Joyce was the liaison for the town department side for public safety in the schools. I was approached by one of the chiefs, just because of my involvement with the ambulance committee, and then the liaison to the university, and a lot of conversation there about, might make some sense for me to move over and be the liaison for that department. So I was going to ask for public safety unless anybody else wants to arm wrestle.
Based on your reasoning, I think you're a fine candidate for that.
Agreed.
I guess just one less conversation that the
No.
chiefs have to have. Right. Okay. And then, so then the schools wouldn't have a current liaison assignment, and I've been, the way that we've been working it is Jane and I kind of split town hall, right? So like I had the financial team, assessor, collector, treasurer, and then Jane had others. So
Like
Does anybody-
and conservation,
Board of Health.
Board of Health.
Yep. So does anybody else have an ask right now?
Amy, what did you have? Or what do you?
Oh, gosh. I think I had library.
Okay.
And I was climate change and I had to renege on that one because my constant travel.
Okay.
Oh, and then I was like, I was agricultural as well.
Park and Rec as well.
I was 2 years ago.
Pretty sure you were this time too.
Was I?
Pretty positive.
Okay, well, we can start clean and just say who wants to do.
Yeah, I'm good with whatever.
So, general government, again, it can either be in whole or part.
No, you always went to the financial management team meetings during the day with that, right? For the
Yep.
most part. Okay.
Yeah, they're once a month and they're not even always.
Okay.
Once a month. And again, I can continue to do that, or if somebody else wants to do it, I'm very happy to.
I mean, I'm interested. I just can't make during the day. I guaranteed financial management team meetings. So if Jane wanted to continue.
Jane
with that-
doesn't want that one.
Okay. I didn't want to fight you for it. I was. So I don't mind doing it as long as that's not a deal breaker of having to make every single one of those financial management teams. And I know, Molly, maybe you want to still go to them, so that's fine. too.
Again, if you're okay with that, if
Yeah.
there's something where Carolyn feels like it would be good to have somebody there, and then otherwise, give carte blanche that you're
Yeah.
doing whatever other communication.
Yeah, that's fine.
That works.
UPW?
I have that now. I would like to keep it.
Anybody want to arm wrestle Randy for that one?
No, it's got an arm brace on. I don't.
Arm fight.
Yeah.
It would hurt.
Just a little bit. Okay.
I'm not willing to do that anymore.
Falling apart.
So, how about the schools?
I'll take the schools as well, unless Amy or somebody else wants it.
You're all right.
All right, David, the
You have kids in the school.
Yep.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Okay. And then we have Library, Council on Aging, and Hadley Media.
I would like certainly Council on Aging.
Mhm.
And I have been doing Hadley Media, but if anybody else is interested, I don't want to.
George, Jane.
And then the library, Amy, you said,
Yeah, I think I was last time. Wasn't I last time? What you're looking at?
yeah, so they'll want to be notified.
Yeah,
To talk to, because I know they've got a handful of things going on right now, so.
okay.
You're writing these down, right?
I am writing it down. I will also send an email out to y'all and your committees.
All right.
Mhm. Okay. And then, so when we talked about general government, David, are you doing all of town hall, or is that still split? Right, so it would be Board of Health, Park and Rec,
Conservation.
Conservation.
I mean, it's up to Jane. I don't want to step on her toes if she wants to keep doing what she's doing. Otherwise, I'm happy to take it. It's up to you, however you want to.
Take them all.
Okay, however you want to, that's fine. Yep.
Okay, Jennifer, you're clear on that now?
Yes,
And you can tell us what we just said at some point in the future.
I will send it to you in an email tomorrow.
Perfect. Okay. Ag Commission, Amy, you had
That'd be
that,
me.
right?
Yeah.
Right? So Board of Health, I would,
Well, so David just took that over, but I have really been liking that one. So can I keep that one out?
Sure.
Okay.
And then the cemetery committee? Has anybody been the liaison?
It was usually DPW, wasn't it? It fell under
That's
the
what I
same thing.
thought too.
Yeah, I wasn't aware, but I'll take it.
Okay, Randy?
Well, it's
Right,
going
you've
so
got
smoothly,
cemetery.
you didn't even need to do anything with it.
The climate change committee, was that also you, Randy?
No,
No, I still.
That's Jane, okay.
Okay, doing it, and that's fine. I'll stay there.
You want us to keep doing that? Okay. The DEI,
that's me.
that's you. Okay, you're okay keeping that?
Yeah,
The CPA or CPC, community preservation?
I don't know who had that one.
how many do we have total? One, two,
Y'all don't have a,
There's no select board
Board member.
member on the committee.
yeah, this was just sort of a liaison to,
Right.
but maybe y'all don't need one. I was just trying to be thorough.
Sure, no, no, I think somebody actually probably, again, it just as a liaison assignment, it's not.
right?
So who would Mary Thayer call?
I can do that one.
You want to do that, Amy?
Yeah.
Conservation Commission,
That's me.
that's you?
I have it now, yeah.
Okay. Cultural Council? Somebody? Did you have that, Jane? No?
I didn't. I mean, I did several years ago, but I haven't.
It's been floating by itself for a while.
Okay.
Now, all of these that we're doing, are they all active, some inactive? some-
No. If they're on this list, they're fully active committee in town.
Okay.
Somebody needs to do cultural.
I can do Cultural Council. And then the digital equity is on here.
Well, if I'm doing Hadley Media,
They want a select board member on there. Wouldn't that make sense for that person to then be the liaison?
That makes sense. You willing to do that? Okay. So Jane will do that. DPW Facility Committee, Randy, you're already on
I'm on
that.
that committee,
Right.
yes.
And then Historical Commission?
I can do that.
Yeah, I think
That kind of pairs with the preservation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yep, that's a good idea. Housing and Economic Development Committee, I'm on that. Happy to continue that. And it says the library trustees, but that would go along, that's really just the library.
so isn't the trustees an independent town elected board and,
So is the Board of Health.
or it's both the library and the trustees?
I would think you'd have the same.
It's the trustees. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're okay with that, Amy?
Yeah.
Okay. What I think would be helpful is once Jennifer kindly memorializes what we talked about tonight, then we should get that list out to all of the contacts, so it's very clear, because I know sometimes in the past we've got that step. And then it's like halfway through the year, like, oh, I didn't know you were my liaison. So we can do that. And then make sure that everybody has whatever contact information is needed, whether cell phone, email, however they like to communicate.
Molly, can I ask, when you just said in CPA, no, DEI wants a select board on the committee, do you mean as a voting member? Jane, is that what you meant?
No, the digital,
Digital.
yeah, not DEI.
Okay, so there's
Digital
no
equity.
boards that you're a liaison in. You really technically, I just want to clarify for what I heard. No one's on a board as a voting member.
Not that I know of.
Well, I'm on the
Yeah, he is on the DPW.
DPW Building
That's
Committee.
different. Yes. That's-
Yeah, and then this committee that Alex just spoke about, there would be a select board
As
member.
represented, yeah, which is part of the requirements. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on that?
Planning Board, Strong Town Administrator Committee. Y'all have never done a ZBA, but I put it on there just to be safe.
Oops. Sorry,
And
I didn't move my screen.
And also I did leave off the Capital Planning Committee and I realized it as I was sitting here, but that is Randy right now.
They do have digital equity twice.
I,
She
yeah,
likes digital equity.
because I thought I had left it off and I tried to add it on and be slick, but I had actually already been efficient and put it on there.
And Randy, were you planning board?
I don't know that anybody was.
No, I don't think we were.
So how about David's doing the financial stuff. You want the capital planning committee too?
Yeah, I can take that.
All right. And then I would be happy to do the planning board unless somebody else wants to.
The other thing is finance committee, because I think Randy, you were the select board member from finance, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
You can have that too.
There's a select board member on finance committee.
Wasn't
No,
there
just a
a
liaison.
liaison?
Yep.
Maybe you weren't.
I don't know. So you can have it. It's yours now.
And then the Strong Town Administrator Committee at the last meeting, or whenever we talked about that, I'd be the point person on that. All right,
Seems reasonable.
and then ZBA,
Actually, planning person.
I'll take it.
okay. And then one of the things we should be conscious of, and this, you know, once we go into the committee, the actual appointments for the committees, because we now have the code of conduct and open meeting law requirements and all of that, we're trying to make sure that anybody involved in these committees has a very clear understanding of what the roles, responsibilities are and how to adhere to open meeting law. So I think, you know, we can, typically in the past, we've said it was the kind of the chair, whoever's the chair of those committees' responsibility to disseminate that to all of the committee members. But it's probably a good thing for the liaisons to just be kind of flying cover on that too.
And remind me, do you send out the role of the liaison,
The list
the role?
of what the role of liaison is to the committee.
We probably should.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
So I can look at some examples because I think it would be very helpful.
Okay.
It would.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I'm on the DEI and every time they have a meeting, I'm absent.
Yeah, and I think that's something to clarify. You don't need to be at every meeting.
Right,
I think
right.
there's an assumption that you do, which is very overwhelming.
When I was last appointed liaison, I would go to a first meeting. I would tell them I was the liaison, explain to them that I'm not coming to all the meetings. If you need me for anything, contact me.
Mhm.
And so I think that's appropriate.
When you put out that list you're going to make, in addition to having our contact information, would you have the chair of the committee's contact information? So that you can know who we're talking to? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else on those assignments? Okay, thanks, Jennifer. New business item 5.3. Upcoming fiscal year select board goals. So put this on for discussion. So last year, we worked with Carolyn to kind of establish, I think, about 4 or 5.
Well, I had a lot more than that, but you helped me make it more concise.
Yeah, so the kind of, you know, overarching goals.
Yeah.
You know, communication, organizational development, that kind of thing, yeah. So do we want to have an agenda item to talk about that amongst ourselves? Would it be helpful for us to wait and then have Carolyn present kind of a status report against the goals from the prior year? What is anybody thinking they would like to do?
I think if Carolyn presents the status report and we are then able to say, great, let's now look at this and moving forward, we want to add a new goal or something.
I agree with that.
What do you think? You're coming back, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have things to add to the list as chair that we should be focusing on, and I'm sure that an update would be helpful to see what we can check off and what maybe isn't a priority anymore. This, you know, maybe a lower priority, I should say. and go from there.
That makes sense? Okay. All right, so Carolyn, work on the timing of that. Okay, and then item 5.4, gifted land on Hockenham Road. Carolyn, you want to?
Who can speak to this?
So it was first presented by Susan, our the tax collector. I full disclosure, I wasn't here last week, so I did not review all of the documents. So Sue can give a background, but you may have some more questions that you'd like to ask to get addressed. So this is not for you to have to make a decision, but if there's more questions that you would like to ask Sue or any other, anybody else as part of the finance team on impact or anything like that.
Oh, there's Sue.
So this piece of property, it's, I think it's about 4.2 acres. It's down by the river. It's in the Great Fort Meadow. The person listed on this now is Mary Crayson, and she is one of several heirs to this property. They no longer want it. And so we have a couple of options here. I think the one presented before you is the best one. Where they gift it to the town specifically through the Conservation Commission, but the select board has to agree to it. And then we file a deed and we're all set. Otherwise, which her attorney is saying is if the town doesn't want to accept the property, you just let it go into tax title and it continues to subsequent every year and build up a large tax title account, which makes no sense for us because then we have to go to foreclosure. We have to go to land court and have the property deeded to us anyway. So this is the easier of the two options, I think.
I'm going to ask you a question, so I don't mean to put you on the spot, but why would the town want this?
It is in the middle of all land that is Commonwealth of Massachusetts exempted land. So it's all in conservation land.
Okay. So I read all the documents. I looked at the piece of property on the assessor's map. It is indeed surrounded by Commonwealth of Massachusetts land. Would it make more sense for them to own it than for the town?
I'm thinking that it
And let
doesn't
me ask
have
you
to.
a question. Yeah, hang
Okay.
on. If the town takes it, can we then in turn get the state to pay us money for it?
Good point.
I'm not certain of that, but if we take it, there are a lot more costs involved.
I mean, take it from this gift that they're asking, not wait for tax title to take it. I apologize for if we are gifted this land, then could we then turn around and sell it to the state?
There is nothing in the deed that restricts that.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so if that's the case, I'd be in favor.
So the gift is not specifically to the town of Hadley in
To the
perpetuity.
Conservation Commission, yes,
Okay.
and yeah, through its Conservation Commission.
I mean, if there's no cost to the town for receiving this gift, why wouldn't we take it? And why wouldn't we hold on to it? Whether it's a spot that people can hike, hunt, do whatever out there, just like over by the reservoir, it just makes sense. Make it conservation land, even if it is only controlled in a small area.
I don't think it is, I think it's wet. It may be actually underwater, I'm not positive, but it's wet. So.
Yeah.
I guess the only concern I have is in the past, we've always been extremely cautious about accepting gifts from the standpoint that we want to make sure that we're also not accepting liability that may go along with this. And,
Like
I
trash
have no
bales.
idea where it is. There's no map included.
It's out in the middle of nowhere. Old
It's
Hockenham.
317 and it's right on the river, so.
Yeah.
So it's on the river.
It's on the river, but there's no way to really get there from here. It's on the old Hockenham Road, not the new
Right.
one.
Oh,
Right.
so it by where the snowmobile trail goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I agree with Molly that we don't know what we're getting. And if whether the town has it or the state has it and it's in conservation, it doesn't really matter. And if we can get a little bit of money out of it, why not?
So my question, I guess, is there a possibility that it is somehow contaminated, that we should have it examined before we accept it?
I'm guessing it's not, Jane.
That
only
would cost a
because
lot of
it's-
money to have it examined.
Exactly.
And I think, I'm guessing the state land is all surveyed, so it should be relatively easy to find where it is. I'll look into that. Has anybody talking to the Conservation Commission and whether they're okay with this?
It's on their next meeting.
Okay, so I think we table this until we hear from the Conservation Commission,
Yeah,
number one,
and also, council too. I believe town council was involved with this at some point, but not sure where that ended.
Actually, they drew up the deed. And they did a title search, so,
They did a title search.
yes.
Okay. So we already paid something for this then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because title search wasn't free. Okay. No.
All right, I suggest we table it like Randy says.
Yep. Okay. It's
There's
fine
a
with me.
way, if there's a way that we could do this by July 1, it's only because taxes will be reassessed. And technically I should advertise, come September, I should advertise and do all of that. And I don't know whether the Board of Assessors will be willing to abate new taxes. So
when did
When
you,
is the commission meeting?
when did you say Conservation was meeting?
I don't have my book in front of me. I'm not certain whether it's maybe the 11th or the 20th.
Second Tuesday.
Well, if they're meeting next Tuesday, number one, we need to make sure that this item is on their agenda.
Right.
Mhm.
And I did
Yeah.
mention, and I did talk to Kayla about it, and I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it is.
Yeah, just make sure she puts it on their agenda because that'll be a problem. Don't. And I can certainly try to attend that meeting and get a feel for what they're thinking and bring it back to our meeting the following day, if that indeed happens on the 11th.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. And Sue, I mean, if, for the sake of argument, if this winds up spilling into the month of July, at one of our meetings in July, I mean, does it really matter?
I don't know, Dan, do you think your board will abate Dan, are you there?
The assessment date is actually January 1, so it doesn't matter if you
Okay,
took it tonight, it's still gonna generate a first and second quarter bill.
So we've got, sounds like,
but they'll abate it?
I'm sure the board will be more
Okay.
than willing to abate the $102 tax on the parcel.
okay, so is everybody okay tabling this until we have more information?
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm. Sounds good. Okay, thanks, Sue. And Dan. 5.5, employee resignation. So this is, Jeb, Johannesmeyer has submitted his resignation effective on the 3rd. So I'm going to make a motion that we accept Jeb's resignation effective June 3rd, 2024, with prejudice.
I will second that.
A motion made by Molly, seconded by Randy. Is there any discussion on this?
I assume you'll put it out to her job.
I think we have an ongoing, Jane, quite frankly, they're
Yeah.
trying to fill positions constantly.
Scott's actively looking for people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions or?
How long has he worked for the job?
right?
Less than 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Less than a year?
Less than 8 years.
Oh, okay.
That's what I put.
So we put in a 2-week notice on the 3rd. But then it's all good? Okay. It's all good, never mind.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep, okay. So there's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so was that unanimous?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. And item 6.1, the town administrator's report. So what we're doing here, that's a little bit different tonight. At the last meeting, we agreed that there were certain kind of key projects that we would just have those listed. So that's the DPW building, Goodwin Memorial, Russell School, the Connecticut River Dike System, and then obviously Carolyn will report to us on anything else that she wants to report to us on.
Okay. I mean, I'll do the town administrator's report. And you'll see the duplication of those projects that are typically in the town administrator's reports. They pretty much have the same language. The DPW supervisor, there's a consideration, possible recommendation coming up for the next select board meeting for possible in-house, an interest from an in-house employee to pursue that. We also are looking for an assistant chief wastewater operator. We really haven't filled that position, but we really need to. So that is that we just made that decision this week. So that it's begin to go through the posting. Emily, the HR assistant, will help out with that. Right now, presently, there is nothing to publicize right now. The UPSCU Local 424, which I call the Municipal Employees Union, we're having our meeting scheduled for June 17th. You'll be getting an update with the Hadley Professionals Firefighters IAFF Local 5486 in executive session later on this evening. Classification and compensation succession plan. Thank you to our chair, Molly Keegan, who did a very nice presentation to the department heads to give a update on where the select board was with that process. And that happened today. And there was lots of questions and hopefully things were cleared up. But Molly's going to continue to update them as the select board moves forward with this. I did attend a really good conference last week for town managers and administrators for MMA. It was excellent. And I am putting all the documents together so I can share some of that with you. But in particular, it highlighted crisis management. Crisis occurs, all different types, not so much from the emergency managers, chiefs, but more so from manager and select board, how we communicate. And we did talk a lot about communications with the public. I have some great examples that I definitely want to share with you all moving forward. It could be part of some of those goals that we do. So that was excellent. Thank you for letting me go there. And see, Board Docs was not working. I tried 3 times to put the fiber update, but actually give it to you. I wanted Michael to use the correct language, like give you the fiber update. So he is working with the Parmar family, Verizon Wireless and fiber and radio contractors to relocate radio antenna and equipment as part of the simulcast system from its current location at the Hampshire Mall to Homewood Suites. The location change is for ease of access with the new fiber install. So thank you, Mike, for providing that. I tried a couple of times, it wouldn't work. Let me just move quickly. I think I mentioned last time the CDB projects, they asked for an extension in some of their projects, which you had given me the authority to sign all the documents that come every week for CDBG. So I've done that. You've got the update from Jim and Hockenham Cemetery fence. We're getting some movement, some more discussions back and forth. The attorney's going to give us some guidance on what's the next step. It's just as you drive by, you can see the poles aren't even, and we want to make sure this is exactly the way it should be in honor of those that are there. So I'll keep you updated on how that's going. And then, let's see. Yeah, I'll give you the update with the select board. You want me to read the select board updates, projects?
Sure.
Because actually some of them I don't think.
Yep. So the Russell School. So what you're,
Yeah, let me go, let's just open that up. Yeah, Russell, I did get an update from Allegroni. Allegroni and AHF worked together. So I did write out the update that they gave me. I can read it out loud, but they are moving along, basically in their due diligence phase. And you will start to see, they did a 3D model of the school. They're doing structural analysis. And they're also looking at other old reports, and they're going to start to be engaging the public fairly soon with, again, the intent of having clear options with cost estimates. So they will be ramping up with that this summer. DPW building, you got the update from Jim. The Goodwin Memorial Building. I have put a proposal together that I'm working on as far as moving forward with Goodwin Memorial. I'm going to meet with Gary and Scott tomorrow first, get their input, but then I would like to put it on the agenda for the next meeting for me to present that to you and get your feedback. The levy system. I did hear from Rich Niles. He said the final draft of that should be provided. Yeah, this did not work because I did get an update from Massachusetts Silver Jackets. My apologies. I'll send you out the updated one I tried to correct. They kind of got delayed throughout the winter, and they are going to also reconvene this summer to get some solid recommendations on how to do outreach with the public.
thank you. Anybody have any comments or questions for Carolyn? Okay, no, thank you. Okay, does anybody have a liaison report this evening? Okay, no, if not, announcements. I have one. As Joyce was exiting, Joyce realized that we had inadvertently left off a condolence that should have gone out a couple of weeks back. So this is in remembrance of Helen Seluzniak, the sister of Amelia Matusko and Stanley Phil. And so she did pass and again has family members here in town. So on behalf of the select board, we'd like to extend our condolences to her family. Anybody have anything else? Okay. If not, then we'll be moving into executive session. Right. Good. Well, so Amy, you did this, right? So you actually read it as chair instead of having somebody else do it?
Yeah, it was just easier.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion that we move into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to review for approval and or release the following executive session minutes in accordance with Chapter 30A, subsection 22FG. And said minutes are January 5th, 2022. These are all going to be 2022. So January 5th, January 10th, January 19th, February 16th, March 2nd, and March 11th. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on said bargaining and the position of the public body. That would be Hadley Municipal Employees Union, UPSAU Local 424 Unit MADIV 129, and Firefighter Union, IAFF Local 5486. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, also to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for contract negotiations with non-union personnel, the town treasurer, town collector, And if the chair so declares, and we are not to reconvene in open session, and as chair, I do declare.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded.
And then the bold
Roll call vote?
Roll call vote, Phil,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Keegan,
Yes.
Nevin Smith,
Yes.
Parsons.
yes.
Okay.
And then I just